There is a certain silence in the Octagon, a stillness that creeps in before the chaos. When most fighters chase a knockout, he hunts something deeper, more technical, more terrifying. Not with punches, not with kicks, but with arms, with legs, with limbs. Like a predator sinking into the shadows before striking. His name is Charles Oliveira. And in the world of MMA, he is the submission wizard. This is not just a story about a fighter. It's the rise of a man who took jiu-jitsu, injected it with venom, and turned it into one of the most dangerous weapons the UFC has ever seen.
Yeah, all he needs, one mistake, and that's it. You're going home early against Charles.
Born in the favelas of Sao Paulo, Brazil, Charles Oliveira had every reason not to make it. He grew up in the gritty neighborhood of Guarujá. No money, no comfort, and certainly no Octagon. Doctors once told him he might never walk again due to rheumatic fever and a heart murmur as a child. But instead of giving in, he found something that would change his life forever: Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. At the age of 12, Charles started training. By 14, he was competing. By 18, he had earned his black belt. And before long, the world took notice of this wiry, relentless grappling phenom. Charles entered the UFC in 2010 with flair, submitting Darren Elkins in his debut in just 41 seconds. He followed that with another submission, this time a knee bar, and people said this kid might be special. But it wasn't all glory. He hit a wall. He lost to big names: Donald Cerrone, Frankie Edgar, Max Holloway. He missed weight. He gassed out. People started calling him a quitter. Some said he'd never live up to the hype. But the thing about Charles, he doesn't break. He evolves. Like all great martial artists, he learned from pain, and he used it to build something terrifying.
And he's caught Swanson by knock.
Around 2018, something shifted. The boy who once looked fragile became a finisher. The tentative fighter became a killer. Between 2018 and 2022, Charles Oliveira racked up 10 straight wins, 9 of them by finish. And in the process, he became the most dangerous lightweight in the UFC. He didn't just win, he dismantled.
Kevin Lee, submitted. Tony Ferguson, dominated bell to bell. Michael Chandler, knocked out in a comeback. Dustin Poirier, broken and submitted. Justin Gaethje, dropped and choked.
Each fight, a storm. Each round, calculated chaos. And in the middle of it all, Charles Oliveira, smiling through the blood.
Oliveira again, now sitting to guard.
So what makes Charles Bronx Oliveira so deadly? It starts with his ability to invite danger. Charles doesn't panic when dropped. He welcomes it. Why? Because going to the ground with Charles is like jumping into a pool with a shark. He wraps you up, isolates limbs, and finds openings where no one else can. His guard game is venomous. Triangle threats, armbar traps, sweeps into mount, and the moment you defend one, he transitions to the next. And once he's on your back, it's game over. He submitted black belts. He submitted strikers. He submitted wrestlers. And he holds the record for the most submissions in UFC history. 17 submission wins. That's not just technique. That's terror.
Big knee to the body for Oliveira.
But here's the twist. Charles isn't just a grappler anymore. He became one of the most aggressive strikers in the division. Always moving forward. Always pressuring. Throwing knees, elbows, teeps, uppercuts, flying knees, never giving you space to breathe. He drops fighters now. Drops them. And when they panic and shoot for takedowns, that's when they enter the trap. It's brilliant. It's brutal. And it's effective. People used to say, if he can't get it to the ground, he's done. Now, he puts you on the ground. By force. One thing defines Charles Oliveira more than any belt or bonus: his heart.
Against Michael Chandler, he got rocked. People thought he was done. 1 round later, TKO. Against Dustin Poirier, he got dropped. Came back, pressured, submitted him. Against Gaethje, he absorbed thunder, dropped him, took the back, choked him out. No one survives Charles Oliveira's chaos. Because Charles thrives in chaos. Every time people count him out, he rewrites the story. That's not just skill. That's spirit.
Tentando derrubar, sempre tentar partir para finalização.
In 2022, Charles missed weight before UFC 274. He was stripped of the title on the scale, but he still went out there and finished Justin Gaethje. Then came Islam Makhachev, a different beast. Wrestling, control, pressure. Charles looked human that night. He was submitted in round 2. The critics returned. They said, "It's over." But Charles doesn't go away. He came back in 2023, faced Beneil Dariush, one of the division's most respected grapplers. And what happened? First round TKO. Just another reminder that you can't count this man out, ever.
Will never speak the way that I have spoken about Charles Oliveira again.
So, who is Charles Oliveira? He's not just a jiu-jitsu guy. He's not just a finisher. He's not just a former champ. He's a warrior forged in fire, a man who took criticism and turned it into fuel, a fighter who shattered records not with flash, but with ferocity. Most submission wins in UFC history, most finishes in UFC history, lightweight world champion, and the heart of a lion. From the dusty streets of Guarujá to the bright lights of the UFC, Charles Oliveira never ran, never folded. He embraced the chaos and became a legend.
Try to submit you. He's a fun guy to watch, and he's a great person. So why not like him?
And now, Charles Oliveira faces his most dangerous test in years, Ilia Topuria. The undefeated, ice-cold sniper from Spain and Georgia, the man who dethroned legends at featherweight and came charging into lightweight like a storm with no warning. UFC 317. The Submission Wizard versus El Matador. Two worlds colliding. Two killers who refuse to blink. Ilia's precision, his pressure, his calm, versus Charles's chaos, his creativity, his unmatched ability to find submissions where none should exist. Topuria is undefeated. Charles is battle-tested. Ilia picks you apart standing. Charles drags you into the deep. Ilia stalks with clean combinations. Charles thrives when things get messy, when blood's on the canvas and the cage feels smaller than ever. But here's the question. Can Topuria survive the storm that is Oliveira? The pace, the danger, the unpredictability? Or will Oliveira, after everything, meet the one man who can't be broken? Because one of them will fall, and the other will rise to a new level of greatness.
Finally does. Maybe.
Forever. Always been a dangerous guy. The guy's been on a tear.
Charles Oliveira is not just fighting for another win. He's fighting for legacy, for redemption, for a reminder to the world that the king of submissions isn't done yet. And Topuria? He's fighting to prove that the new era is now. That undefeated doesn't mean untested. It means undeniable. So who do you have? The storm of Charles Oliveira or the precision of Ilia Topuria? Drop your prediction in the comments. Will it end in a choke or a cold knockout? Like this video if you're hyped for UFC 317. Subscribe for full breakdowns, reactions, and the fight stories behind the fighters. And hit the bell because when this war explodes, you'll want to be the first to know how it ends. This is more than a fight. It's legacy versus legacy, wizard versus warrior. And on June 28th, one era ends and another begins.